I've lost over 25 pounds and have helped my clients lose a combined over 4,000 pounds. And here are 5 pretty controversial weight loss tips that I might get some hate for.
Hey bestie, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Bestie, like the video because it helps with my algorithm. So in today's video, we'll be talking about controversial things to do to stay skinny. So I've put the stitches together so that you watch. I'll be back, share my truth.
I've lost over 25 pounds and have helped my clients lose a combined over 4,000 pounds. And here are 5 pretty controversial weight loss tips that I might get some hate for. I'm gonna tell you anyway because for the right person, this might change your life. And you're probably gonna laugh when you hear number 5. Number 1, you don't have to walk 10,000 steps a day to lose weight. There, I said it. I don't know where this number came from. I think people chose it because it's like a nice, neat, even number. Research shows that 7,000 to 8,000 steps is really all you need for health and weight loss. If you wanna do more than that, that's fine, but you don't have to aim for 10,000 every day. Number 2, tracking calories is not an eating disorder. It in fact can lead to freedom when done correctly. A lot of people think tracking calories is obsessive and it can become a disorder. And while it can become disordered if done obsessively, when done sustainably, it can help you understand your portion sizes and your needs for weight loss and help you see significant results. That's why I recommend working with a macro coach who knows how to help you do it the sustainable and safe way. Number 3, if you love dessert, eat it every single day. You heard me right. There's nothing wrong with sugar. Everything is fine in moderation. So if you really like sweets, make sure most of your meals are filled with whole foods and nutrient dense. Make room for 1 sweet treat a day in moderation. This could be a piece of chocolate, it could be a small cookie. All foods can truly fit. Number 4, if you want to continue drinking alcohol, try to cut back on the mixed drinks and just take shots instead. I know this sounds crazy, but shots are better for weight loss because when you have a mixed drink, you're mixing a sugary drink with the alcohol, making it much higher in calories than just the alcohol by itself. If you're cool with taking shots, just get straight to business and save on calories. Number 5, stop having cheat days. I'm not saying eat clean all the time and eliminate the cheat days. I'm saying make healthier, lower calorie versions of the foods that you like during the week so you don't even feel the need to have a whole cheat day on the weekend. Instead on the weekend, maybe just pick 1 meal to go out to eat. Maybe you have breakfast at home, lunch at home, then go out to a nice dinner, start eating when you're hungry, stop eating when you're full, and take the rest to go. But you don't need to have a designated day where you just go buck wild crazy. So if you found this helpful, do me a favor and give me a follow. And if you want more personalized guidance and support when it comes to nutrition, fitness, and changing your relationship with food, I would absolutely love to help you. You can learn more about our coaching program up in my profile.
Controversial things I did to lose weight while working full-time as a nurse. I gained around 15 pounds after I started working as a nurse. It was me 6 months later on the exact same schedule. 1, I stopped running to food after an emotional code or after a really stressful shift. It's really common within nursing culture to run to sweets or food or the pizza party or whatever after you've just had something really emotional or hard happen, but I stopped doing that. It really taught me to not rely on food to work through certain things. 2 was I stopped snacking just because my coworkers were snacking. Again, in nursing culture, it's a really big thing to just kind of like eat sweets and junk all the time. And it's really normal because everybody does it. It's really common to DoorDash a lot, group orders for people to bring food. So I stopped doing that. I stopped eating just because my coworkers were, because a lot of the times I wasn't even hungry. I was just doing it because everybody else was doing it. 3, I had a strict no sweets or candy rule at work for a while. So I could not eat any candy or sweets at work unless I brought it. That personally taught me that I don't need the candy or sweets just because they're there, just because they're in front of me. Like I don't have to have them. Like really help my willpower personally. 4, no more than 2 caffeinated drinks per day. Caffeine is obviously a big part of nursing culture just because it's amazing. Everybody loves caffeine. I also think it's really big because you can continue, like you can just grab another cup of coffee or energy drink instead of eating food. So it's faster and easier, but it's not really healthier. What happens is you start your shift with caffeine and then you get your second caffeinated drink around 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. And then you drink that caffeinated drink until 3 p.m., 3 a.m. That's usually whenever you're starving. And then we go into the break room and just like binge everything. After I finished my 1 caffeinated drink, then I had to eat something and it had to be high in protein. Also drink water. 5, I never bought an actual meal from the cafeteria. Barely bought from the cafeteria anyway because I thought it was overpriced and everything there kind of sucked. Things I did buy were like drinks, protein shakes, or fruit. Outside of that, I made a strict no cafeteria rule. It forced me to rely on my meal prep, so that meant I had to cook for all of my shifts to make sure I had food. I'll see you in part.
These are some of the things that I didn't do. I lost 9% body fat during body recomp. First one, I actually stopped counting calories because I've been counting calories since the age of 15, 16, and it created such an unhealthy relationship with food for me. I think if you are a beginner or if you need to lose fat as a short-term goal, then definitely count your calories. Don't think that counting calories for the rest of your life is sustainable or healthy. Counting only protein, and it was a game changer. I think the stress just melted off me, as well as the fat. As there was a second controversial thing I didn't do was cardio. I'm not a cardio girly. I've never been one. I don't like running. I don't like sprinting. I went on a bit of a running journey last year because of my lower back injury, which actually just proves to me that I'm not a runner. I can be a runner if I want to be one, but I just don't like it. The only form of cardio you catch me doing on most days is walking. Fun fact, cardio is actually not the most effective way to lose body fat. The amount of calories that you burn off through cardio is minuscule compared to what your body burns just from you existing, and that's called your basal metabolic rate. Your body naturally burns energy from you existing, breathing, thinking. Don't get me wrong, cardio is important. Cardio is not the best way to lose fat if that is your goal. Number 3 is that I did not cut out carbs or fat. In fact, I actually increased my fat intake. You know why? Because I had been that girl who was so obsessive over eating low fat because I thought that fat that I was consuming was directly contributing to the fat that I put on my body. While fat has a higher caloric content, it is actually so important, especially as a girl, to have a decent amount of fat in your diet for several reasons, but most importantly, for me anyway, for your hormones. Oh my god, I am so hormonal, and if I don't eat enough fat in my diet, I feel like I'm going crazy. It's the same with carbs. Carbs is not the enemy. If you go to the gym, you need it for recovery, you need it for energy, you need it to just live. I think if you're just starting your fat loss journey or your recomp journey, aim to have 80 to 90% whole foods. In each meal, you include some sort of protein and some sort of healthy fat and some sort of carbs. That's where you won't have cravings anymore. And often we don't eat because we're hungry. We eat because we're emotional, because we're stressed out. People stress eat. That's why most people can't seem to shred the fat that they have on their body. It's you're looking at it from a lack mindset. So try to think about it as, okay, I'm trying to lose fat, so I need to eat more protein, more whole foods, more fiber, and it will literally change your world. Anyway, that was so random. I'm gonna go make dinner.
I'm here to tell you all the things you're doing wrong or screwing up if you're trying to lose weight. Hi, I'm Kelly. I'm a weight loss coach. Here are things you don't need to worry about or you're doing wrong if you're on a weight loss journey. Number 1 is worrying about what time you're eating. Literally stop trying to force yourself to not eat past 6 p.m. if you want to lose weight. That's so irrelevant. Number 2 is if you're cutting out caffeine, there's literally no point in that. Cutting out a 300 calorie sugary coffee might help you lose weight, but you don't have to cut out caffeine altogether. It actually is helpful in the process of fat loss. Just find lower calorie alternatives for your caffeine. Number 3 is giving yourself a whole cheat day on the weekend. Do not care what anyone tells you. The weekend, depending on what it looks like for you, totally has the ability to outdo all the progress that you made like the 5 days before that. All of your success depends on if you're in a deficit on average across the week. So if your weekend screws that up and all the work that you put in at the beginning of the week, it totally has the ability to stop your fat loss. If you're not strength training because you don't think it burns enough calories, huge mistake. If you're only doing endless cardio and you're not worried about maintaining the muscle mass that you have, when you lose a bunch of fat or lose a bunch of weight, you're just going to be a smaller version of what you look like right now. Unless you already have a really good solid foundation of muscle, only doing cardio is not going to get you that tone defined muscular body that you're wanting. If you're skipping weight training and doing Pilates to tone, no. There's not a single exercise out there that's going to tone you. That's literally just fat loss so you can see the muscle that you already have. If you're not strength training because you're worried about getting big and bulky, no. If your diet is aligned and you're in a calorie deficit with strength training, you're not going to put on a crap ton of muscle. Your body needs a surplus of nutrients to gain muscle, and if you're in a deficit, you're not providing it that, and you're still going to lose fat. If you're doing any fad diets or cutting out any food groups altogether, that's just not going to be successful. You may see progress with it over a short period of time, but if you're doing something for 30 days, most likely it's not going to be something that you can continue, which means it's not a method that you can sustain the fat loss that you create with it. You need to learn what a calorie deficit is and what the numbers behind fat loss mean so that whenever you shift into maintenance, you can maintain all the progress that you've built. If you don't have the knowledge behind that, you're just going to be lost when you try to shift into a maintenance and stop dieting or stop being in a calorie deficit. If you don't prioritize protein because you think it's going to make you gain muscle or put on weight, you're wrong. Protein literally helps you burn more calories calories throughout the day when you eat more of it. It's really helpful with fat loss, but also it's necessary to maintain all the muscle that you have, which is a priority when you're in a calorie deficit trying to lose weight. Not to mention, protein literally keeps you full and satisfied, which is why you can be consistent on a diet in a calorie deficit if you're full all the time. So the more protein you have, the more satiated you're going to be, which obviously keeps you consistent at a lower calorie intake for longer. If you're worrying about burning 600 calories on your Apple Watch every single workout you go to the gym for, just don't. Apple Watches and calorie trackers aren't accurate anyways. But when you look at fat loss from a perspective of I'm going to make adjustments and control my calorie intake rather than I'm going to make adjustments and control my calorie burn, you're just going to be 10 times more successful, because it's literally nearly impossible unless you're like an Olympic athlete to outwork a bad diet. I hope this helps put you on the right track towards weight loss, but of course if you need help or if you're confused around this topic at all, please go check out the one-on-one coaching options in my bio. I take one-on-one clients for nutrition and exercise, and my permanent weight loss playbook is launching May 31st. It's basically a step-by-step guide on how to see weekly weight loss progress and maintain it permanently, and that'll be available through the link in my bio, so go check it out if you haven't already. Bye!
If you want to be skinny, there are hidden psychology things that you can do to help make you lose weight. So a couple of things that I like to do, and this is really important because it will get you to stop thinking about like a diet mindset. Like if I don't want a banana, like I'm really not hungry. So I'm eating a banana with cashew butter and cinnamon on top, and it's so good. But how I've like kind of tricked my mind is like, this is not a diet. I don't want to eat something that is going to make me feel sluggish. I don't want to eat something that's going to make me feel inflamed. That's not going to make me feel good. And I know that eating clean, whole foods and meals that I make at home are going to make me feel so much better. So in my mind, I'm like, I have an autoimmune disease. Like I don't want to feel tired and lethargic. Like I just don't want to feel inflamed, and I don't want my body to ache, and I don't want to feel sore and just like overall crappy. So I'd rather eat foods that I know are going to make me feel better as opposed to eating something that's going to make me feel good for like 10 minutes.
It's just harder to lose weight whenever you're short. And I know this because I'm 4'10", I've lost 25 pounds, kept it off for years, and I'm a fat loss dietitian. So let me give you a major tip to help make fat loss a lot easier. Frankly, this is good advice for literally anyone who's on a weight loss journey, but especially my petite gals. You need to wait until you are actually physically hungry in order to eat breakfast in the morning. And I know the past year, these wellness girlies have been going crazy, going, oh my God, if you have coffee before you eat breakfast, you're gonna spike your cortisol and then you're gonna have such a hard time losing. None of that's true, okay? Wait until you are actually physically hungry in order to eat. The research does support that you burn more calories digesting your food in the morning, and so it is advantageous to consume more in the morning. However, in practice, with both myself and with the hundreds of women that I've coached, I find that when you start earlier, whenever you're not actually hungry, that's the kicker there. If you're not actually hungry, if you start giving your body food before you are comfortably hungry, then you will just consume more calories throughout the day. So now I'm not saying intermittent fast, I'm not saying go past your hunger fullness cues, but wait until you are actually physically hungry to eat. Even if you drink coffee first, that's fine. Because then what happens is you are pushing back your entire day of eating. So then instead of eating breakfast and then maybe getting hungry between breakfast and lunch, and then eating lunch, and then maybe getting hungry between lunch and dinner, and then eating dinner, and then maybe wanting to eat something after, you are going to wait as long as possible, again, until you are comfortably and noticeably hungry. Eat breakfast, and that could be significantly later than it already is for you. Say if you normally eat breakfast at like 7 to 8 and you're actually able to push it back until like 10 or 11, great. Then you can combine breakfast and lunch, and then you can have a snack between lunch and dinner if you want it, or you may not even want it at all, and then you can have dinner. And so then we're cutting out like an entire 1 to 2 snack/meals. Like, do you see how that makes such a big difference? But you aren't having to willpower through it because you are just eating whenever you're hungry. We're not sacrificing satisfaction. We're not powering through hunger. We're just following our body's cues and listening to our body and obeying those signals. That means that you're going to have to make less food-related decisions over the course of the day. You're going to require less willpower, motivation, self-control, and overall...
I get asked all the time, Minju, how do you stay lean while eating your favorite sweet treats all the time? And it really comes down to 3 things: balance, calorie cycling, and perspective on long-term fat loss and how it actually works. So let's debrief each one of these. First of all, when you're entering a fat loss phase, you start to believe that certain foods are good for you, certain foods are bad, but that can be a detrimental way to view food for the long term, because when you start to label certain foods as good or bad, you're automatically putting them on some type of pedestal. The second you tell yourself you can't eat something, it makes makes you want it more. It's human nature. And when you want to give in, you're way more likely to overeat with that kind of mindset. So stop viewing food as good or bad. It's just food. Some foods are more nutrient dense, some are more calorie dense, but both can fit in as long as you can structure it into your meal plan. And that's why I focus on portion control instead of restricting. I don't need to eat a whole cake every night, but if I want some, I'll have some. And it's also important to be mindful about it and realize that the first few bites of the cake are gonna taste the same. And no matter how much you keep chasing that feeling of that first bite and how good it tastes, you're never gonna get that same feeling because your taste buds are already adjusting. It's just important to take the bite, enjoy the food, but leave it at that and stop chasing that feeling of dopamine. 2, let's talk about calorie cycling. Sometimes if I know I'm gonna go out over the weekend, I'll use something called calorie cycling. That just means some days I'll eat in a calorie deficit and other days I'll eat closer to maintenance if I want to enjoy more treats or know that I'm gonna have a big meal. If you want to incorporate these foods, you have to learn how to be flexible. No one said it was easy, but it is simple. Here's what's interesting though. If you've been eating in a deficit for a while, even when you're eating at maintenance, it might feel like you're eating over your calories because your body has just been used to eating less food, so it's just adapted to a lower calorie amount. But maintenance is literally the amount of calories your body needs to sustain your weight. So one day of eating at maintenance won't undo your progress. It just means that one day you maintained, and that's completely normal. And if you're freaking out about the scale going up because you had one bad meal, I can guarantee you did not gain a pound of fat, and the scale went up for other reasons, whether it's water retention, not getting enough sleep, feeling a little bit stressed, probably all of the above. 3, let's talk about the long-term fat loss perspective. The biggest mindset shift is realizing that fat loss does not happen in one day. It's the average of what you do over weeks and months. So whether you're in a deficit for 5 days a week and at maintenance for 2 days out of the week, or mixing in lower calorie meals here and there so you can fit in your sweet treats, it'll be the consistency that adds up. And if incorporating desserts here and there keeps you consistent for months, it could actually be helping your fat loss to help you stay consistent, not hurting it. So yes, you can stay lean while eating your sweet treats and your favorite foods. Stop putting foods on a pedestal, practice portion control, use calorie cycling when it makes sense, and most importantly, remember one treat or one day of eating at maintenance will never erase your progress. Long-term consistency is what's going to get you results. If you want a structured plan that lets you fit in your favorite foods while still losing weight sustainably, that's exactly what I do in my one-on-one coaching. I always found ways to fit in my favorite sweet treats, my favorite foods, still ate out, and I was still able to lose 30 pounds. I'll help you take the guesswork out and create a plan that fits for your lifestyle. Just click the link in my bio to apply.
If you've been trying to lose weight for years, to the point where you have been under eating for years, you've been in a calorie deficit, which means you are eating less than you're burning, I'm gonna be the one to tell you that you are no longer in a calorie deficit. Our bodies are super smart, and they're not just super smart, they're super efficient. So if you're dieting like you should when you're trying to lose fat, and it's a get in and get out situation, so anywhere between like 3 to 6 months, then your body will do what you want it to do, which is burn fat, right? I'm assuming that you're in that because you want to go through weight loss. It will think, hey, I've been getting X amount of calories, now I'm getting less, we have to burn some fuel because I need more. However, if you've been depriving your body of the calories that it needs longer than that, aka you've been in a calorie deficit for 8 months, 9 months, years, there are exceptions to every circumstance. The more weight you have to lose, the longer you can be in a calorie deficit. But let's just speak in general terms. Your body will recognize that it's being underfed, and it will take secondary functions, let's call them, and think these are not important and put them to the wayside. And by secondary, I mean anything that isn't just simply keeping you alive. You're gonna have trouble sleeping, you're gonna have trouble pooping, you're gonna have brain fog, you're gonna be tired because your body doesn't care about those things. This is another reason why a lot of women lose their period when they undereat. Your body doesn't care about that. The only thing it's caring about is making sure your heart is still pumping and your brain is still on because you didn't give it enough fuel. So it's like, I'm taking anything you do give me and just keeping you breathing. And this is why maybe if you were losing weight at the beginning, you can't lose weight anymore because your body has learned to operate at that lower calorie level. It's now your maintenance. You're not in a deficit. And while you do need to raise your calories, the answer isn't just to raise your calories by 1,000 overnight. You can think of your metabolism like a fire. When you're starting a fire, you cannot put big logs on first, right? You have to start with the little twigs. And then you can do like maybe the medium logs. And then after we've really got a good fire, then we can add those big logs that get it roaring and going. If you are under eating and you think, okay, I know I need to eat more, so starting on Monday, I'm gonna start eating 2,000 calories when you've normally been eating 1,300. Your body is gonna see those big logs, that 700 calorie jump, and be like, I don't know what to do with this. Your fire isn't ready, and it's not gonna have the effect that you want. So to prepare your body for those big logs, you can do something called a reverse diet. Sounds exactly like the name. Instead of calories going down, calories are going up. This does require you to know where you're at currently. So maybe for a week or two, just track your food like you're normally eating. Don't try to make it better. Don't try to make it worse. first, just track what you would normally eat so you can kind of see about what calorie range you're in. After that, a general rule of thumb that I've seen is to raise calories by 100 calories every week until you get to maintenance. Now, there's a couple nuances to this. If we're still using the 1300, 2000 example, in theory, it should take you 7 weeks, but that might not be super feasible for you. One, you might be going on vacation. You might have a really tough week at work. There might be weeks that you just aren't following the plan. When I have clients that go through reverse diets, we only up calories if they've been between like 80 and 95% compliant. If you feel like you haven't adhered to the new calories that week, you can just do it for a second week or a third week. You could stay at 1500 for 3 weeks until you get comfortable, you feel like your body likes it, then raise to 1600. It's not like a hard and fast 100 calories a week. Now, if you tracked your food to see where you're at, I would bet my house on the fact that you aren't even close to how much protein you need to be eating. I would actually bet my house on the fact that you're probably eating less than 100 grams. So the first thing I do with my clients who have been under eating and we need to raise their calories is we raise their protein. A good rule of thumb is 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight or per pound of goal weight. Let's say you're 300 pounds and you have a goal weight of 180 pounds, then it would make more sense for you to eat 180 grams of protein than 300 grams of protein, and so on. There are tons of online calculators that can tell you what your maintenance calories should be at. I used to do personalized macro counts and then I stopped. I can bring those back if you guys are interested. But this is where we're going to need to do some math. I told you you need to increase 100 calories a week. Asterisk. This isn't just any 100 calories, right? I said let's focus on protein first, but then eventually we're gonna have to raise your carbs and fats because carbs are not the enemy. By the way, you need carbs to live. 1 gram of protein costs your body 4 calories. It takes your body 4 calories to burn 1 gram of protein. 1 gram of carbs costs your body 4 calories. 1 gram of fat costs your body 9 calories. Another PSA, fat doesn't make you fat, so don't be afraid of it. And women tend to need more fat than men because it helps regulate our hormones. So if we're trying to raise our protein, 4 calories per gram, if we're going up 100 calories, you can raise your macros by 25 grams of carbs. 25 times 4 is 100 calories, right? Now let's say we already raised and we are at our goal protein and now we got to work on carbs and fats. You could either do 100 calories in carbs or 100 calories in fat, or you can mix and match. You could do 25 grams of carbs. You could do 11 grams of fat, right? Because 11 times 9, 99 calories, close enough to 100, or you can just do a mix of the two. It's up to you. Online calculators are not magic. Macros are not these magic numbers. They're just guesses, right? They're just estimates. The only way to really know your true metabolic output is to, one, for you to like not be here, but to submerge you underwater in it's like a whole thing. Anyways, the point is that they're just guesses. So if we're just aiming for 2000 calories, you might find that your body is at maintenance around 1900, 1950, or you might find you're able to eat more at 2100, 2200. You should be weighing yourself if the scale doesn't tank your mental health. I think that needs to be taken into consideration. If it doesn't tank your mental health, then I would weigh yourself every day and take your weekly average. If your weekly average is staying the same, and sometimes when people eat more, they will find that they start to lose weight because you're still in a deficit if you haven't met your maintenance yet. And now your body is thinking, oh my God, you gave me more fuel. I love this. I can start shedding some of the unwanted stuff. Once your weekly average starts staying the same, you're around maintenance. And then if like for 2 weeks you see it go up, you might be in a surplus. Back it down. Then you're at maintenance. Easy peasy. If you're gonna take anything away from this video, it's that you probably need to eat more. You cannot chronically diet and still treat your body the way it deserves. Okay, smell you later.
Totally unpopular opinion. However, something that I've noticed popping up in my comments a lot as I'm posting my weekly check-ins and weigh-ins is people commenting suggestions to go to Ozempic type pages for that type of product. The GLP-1s, while there's a lot of good research behind them and they are effective, they're good for certain candidates. That's not me. It's not my jam, not my style whatsoever. I want a sustainable approach to losing weight. I used to work in a bariatric office, so weight management office, and I worked for this doctor that used things like phentermine, the shots that you could, or pills you could take, not shots, but the pills you could take for weight loss, and they work. I've seen it happen. I see people, I saw them drop weight drastically. However, it comes at a cost. When you're doing something that quickly, and you stop taking said medication or said shots, you typically gain that weight right back, sometimes even more so, not to mention what it's doing to your internal organs. Again, some people, hey, if it's what you want to do, that's your prerogative. And that's why doing the weight loss my way and doing it more naturally and sustainably by eating well and exercising, moving my body, I'm going to have longer lasting results, and it's going to be more gentle on my body rather than going to extreme measures just for instant gratification. Tell me your thoughts on this.
That's the video, besties. I'm just here just to share my 2 cents, like what I think about today's video. Today's video, we're talking about controversial things to do to stay skinny. So the first controversial thing people do to stay skinny in a good way is saying no unapologetically. They say no extra food, no late night junk, no to social pressure to just have one more bite. It's controversial because in today's world, saying no makes you look like you're being too strict or not living a little, but the truth is, knowing your limit is a form of self-love. You don't owe anyone an explanation for protecting your body or goals. Another controversial thing is skipping breakfast, but not in a toxic way. Some people genuinely feel better when they practice intermediate fasting. They don't force it, they just listen to their body. If they're not hungry in the morning, they wait until noon to eat. See, another controversial thing people do to stay skinny in a good way is saying no unapologetically. They say no to extra food, no to late night junk, no to social pressure, just have one more bite. It's controversial because in today's world, saying no makes you look like you're being too strict or not living a little. But the truth is, knowing your limit is a form of self-love. You don't owe anyone an explanation for protecting your body or your goal. Another controversial but positive habit, bestie, is not eating just because others are eating. Most people eat out of politeness or social habits. People say slim don't do that. They eat when they are hungry, not when the clock says it's lunchtime or when everyone else is ordering dessert. It's controversial because it goes against social norms, but it's healthy. Listen to your body instead of social pressure. Another one is eating the same meal every day. People think it's boring, but it actually works. Many naturally slim people keep their meals simple and repeated because it removes decision fatigue. They don't spend all day thinking about food, and they know what makes them feel good. It's not a boring life, it's a consistent one, and consistency is what keeps the result. Bestie, a big one is eating slower. That sounds too simple to matter, but it's controversial because people rush meals without realizing that digestion starts in the mouth. Skinny people slow down, they chew properly, they taste their food, and they give their brain time to realize they're full. Eating slower helps you eat less naturally, no calorie counting required. Another good controversial habit is not eating after a certain time. Some people draw a line, maybe 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. They just stop eating. They call it restrict, but it's actually about reading. Your body digests better earlier in the day, and sleeping on an empty stomach can improve rest and fat metabolism. It's not about punishment, it's about giving your body a break. Another thing, bestie, is drinking coffee to control appetite. Another hot topic. For some people, black coffee helps them stay focused and less hungry between meals. It's controversial because people associate with it diet culture, but coffee, when not abused, can actually boost metabolism and energy. The key is moderation, not obsession. Another interesting one, not eating healthy food that make you feel bloated. Just because something is labeled healthy doesn't mean it works for your body. Some people don't eat oatmeal daily or certain vegetable because their body don't respond well. It's controversial because it breaks the idea of one size fits all nutrition. True awareness or wellness means personal awareness, not a trend. Skinny people also do something bondy. They walk away from toxic food guilty. They eat a slice of cake and move on. They don't spiral into guilty or starving themselves the next day. That mindset shift is powerful. It's controversial in diet culture because it rejects punishment and embraces balance. They eat, enjoy, and return to their habit the next day without shame. Another controversial truth is that they prioritize appearance, not out of vanity but self-respect. They care about how they look, how clothes fit, and how their body feels. Society sometimes shames people for caring too much about their looks, but wanting to feel confident in your skin is superficial and it's motivating. It keeps you grounded and aware of your choices. Finally, people who stay skinny focus more on how food makes them feel than how it tastes. They eat for energy, not emotion. It's controversial because it changes or challenges comfort eating, but it's built emotional strength. When you stop using food as therapy, you are starting healing from the inside. The truth is, being skinny doesn't have to mean being unhealthy or extreme. The most controversial thing you can do is take care of your self-weight, ignoring friends, breaking rules, and listening to your body. It's okay to fast if it feels like you fast. It's okay to say no to junky food. It's okay to care about your body. Those choices may be controversial, but they are the good kind. The kind that comes from self-discipline and love, not obsession. Because in the end, the real controversial is that staying skinny is not about doing crazy things. Bestie, there's walking instead of working out like crazy. In a world which glamorizes intense gym routine and heavy lifting, it's controversial to say walking every day can keep you lean. But it's true, consistency, movement, even something as simple as walking after meals helps with digestion, fat burning, and stress control.